All right, steers in the shop, working on hauling junk today. These boxes back here were full of junk, and there was another one here. That one is now over in the top of the barn, and all the junk that was on them is now in my dump truck. So the next step here, go up on these shelves up above my bench and clean them off, because all these shelves are full of starters. I think there's a mag up there for something. Might be for a Waukesha engine, but I don't have any use for any of this. Everything I run is diesel except for my wheelers. So that's next. We're going to get the steer fired up, put the bucket over here, and we're going to hoe that out. Up here is where my chainsaws are going to go. They're all going to go up here on these shelves. So we got our shelves cleaned off, we got our junk boxes emptied. Now it's time to pick up and see if there's anything else that we want to take. So that stuff is all junk. Coil. This was an old trick my dad did. He would nail the lids up under the shelf and then screw the jars on. I'm sure there's other people that have done that. My 395, I cleaned it all up this morning. Got her all spiffy. Blew it out with air. Cleaned everything, so it's going up on the shelf. This is where I'm going to winter all my chainsaws, because I clean them up every year. I set them on the floor or do some stupid thing with them, so they're going up here this year. They fit perfect. I already measured them. And then up here I will put my 365s and they'll winter there. So that's a good spot for that. It's up out of the way. It won't get beat on. It won't get anything dropped on it, so I'm happy with that. Let's get the other ones cleaned up and get them cleaned out. This shelf up here, all these bins out, so they're clean, at least for the most part. There's some stuff in there, but it's mostly stuff that I want to keep. So that got done, and that is now all in the skid steer bucket. And this is all stuff that I just hoed out from underneath my bench. So let's get it loaded up and on the truck. Well, we're heading for the junkyard. Dillerman is with me, gunning for me today. So let's go load this junk up. Just waiting to unload. Today begins, well actually the other day began, the shop restoration. I'm taking back my shop. These were old bins for pipe fittings, and I don't need these anymore. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take these faceboards off of everything except the top up there and the bottom down here. This area here I'm going to keep all my short steel in, and then I'm going to make this one shelf on both sides, and this up here to the top one shelf on both sides. I'm going to keep all the maintenance stuff up here for my machines, oil filters, air filters, rollers, under rollers, everything, all my parts are going to go up here except for the 310, which I have over on the other shelf. Now, if I obtain another chainsaw at some point in time, I may bring them all over here. But the first order of business here is to knock these face plates, and we'll get those off. I'm going to try and get all this off in one piece and take this all apart, because I can use this wood. This is all good hemlock, or pine, I think it is. I can use this for other things. So I'm going to try and take this all apart, but that's where we're starting today. Now over on that other side where we just were, I used to have all my extension cords hanging there. So what I've done is I've replaced those. They're now over here, and they're all daisy chained. I can pick in, grab any one of them I want. So as you can see, this is going to be my lower shelf. I'm going to take this off, these out on both sides. This shelving has been in here since the mid-50s. My 91 is in the shop for spring maintenance, and I got to put a little bit of hydraulic oil in this. I usually have to put in about a half a gallon a year, so let's get that done. All right, this is the reservoir cap here, and the way I usually do this is I put a shirt or something over this. And I get out my trusty 24-inch pipe wrench, and I take it real easy on this fella, and I open it. You can see the oil in there. Now this oil is a product that's made locally here, and it is called R&O AW46 hydraulic oil, and it is a 2500 hour oil. Now when I bought this machine, it was bought in 2015, and the year of it is in 1998. Now what I did when I bought this machine is I completely drained that tank I just showed you, and I put this in it. And at the time it had 2290. It had 2,290 hours on it. Now it has 3,345. So when you do the math there, it's got probably a little over 1,000 hours on it. So I've still got about 1,500 hours of life left on this oil. So let's get some in here. Now I pump it out into a jug. It says clean hydraulic fluid on it. Okay, that should do it. Let's see where it's at. It's right in my sight glass, right here. This sight glass should be about half full to allow for the oil to heat up and expand in the tank. So this is perfect. So I hadn't shown that before, so I thought I'd show it. You have to kind of thread it down in here and hook that little circular thing there. Pulls it out into the middle of the tank, and then you screw this back on. When I bought this excavator, I completely cleaned this tank out by hand. The sight glass here was so dirty you couldn't even see the oil in it. Now I had some long Q-tips with wooden handles on them, and I went in through all these little holes and I completely cleaned this all out. And now you can see it's like brand new. So let's tighten this thing up and have that done. And you don't have to tighten this much. There's underneath this clip here, there's a little grommet that goes all the way around. And it seals the tank, and it does a good job. So I just set my wrench on there, and I bring this around about like that. And if I can't turn it off by hand, that's sealed.